Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. I'm sitting down today with my guest, Ryan Anderson, who is the founder of Ryan Esquire. So excited to be jumping into some discussion here, talking a little bit about what Ryan does, a little bit about kind of this journey into entrepreneurship and business and all that fun stuff. First and foremost, Ryan, thank you so much for being here. Why don't we start with just a brief overview for the audience? Tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we can kind of take a step back and talk about how you got into it.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here. I do several things. I'm a business consultant, slash peak performance coach, just depending on what I'm doing, focus on CEOs or athletes. And I recently started doing acting and modeling as well. So that's kind of a brief overarching synapse of what I do.
Beautiful. So for let's take that kind of piece, the performance, the consulting,
Mhm.
things like that. Kind of walk us through, what does that look like? So what types of clients you mentioned on the athletic side, as well as kind of the CEO side? What does that look like? Or if someone hasn't kind of come across some of that before, how would you describe what you do with either athletes or CEOs?
Yeah, so so I have a background in I have a master's in counseling and psych in addition to a law degree. So I really enjoy the mental aspect of high achieving peak performance, right? What it takes to be the best at what you do, for as long as you possibly can. And so I really focus on that mental aspect in addition to the strategies. But to me, the mental game, that inner challenge is really where success in life, business, whatever, is won or lost. So that's really what I kind of focus on with my people, more the inner stuff. And as we're dealing with the inner stuff, as we're having those conversations, it's funny because usually the conversation maybe starts with a kind of strategy or tactic, but then dovetails into that inner game. So I end up working with both, but I really love working on that inner game part of it.
Very cool. I love that. So what led you down this path? How did you get into this world?
Yeah,
Why start a business around it? Give us a little bit of kind of the history leading up.
yeah. So um, it starts way earlier than you probably think. So I randomly got sick at 11 years old and lost my vision. I had a brain abscess. I was supposed to be dead or severely brain damaged, and luckily I came out with, not only being able to see. But before that, my goal in life was being an NFL quarterback. Like I'm the kid at 8, 9, 10 years old, like running drills in my backyard, throwing a football at a tire swing. Reading about my idol Joe Montana and what he had done, and like replicating a lot of the stuff. So like I was just that kid. And then when I lost my vision, of course, I wasn't able to play. Kind of lost that dream. Went through several years of wandering, like who am I? What's my identity? All those questions that I now know that I was doing that back then I had, I was just lost, right? And so I went into psychology back then because I knew it was something I could do. Actually, the reason I went to law school. I knew it was something I could do as someone who couldn't see, be employable. And I enjoyed, like, kind of like all psychologists. Most of us get into the profession to self-medicate, self-take. So I did a bunch of that along the way. And after law school, had a job, hated it, hated being stuck behind a desk, having a boss, having somebody tell me what to do, which is how I got into the coaching part of it. It actually started with going to seminars. Oddly enough, it was fix and flips with houses, and the that I really enjoyed the business aspect of it. My competitiveness kicked in, and so I started like learning as much as I could about business and like how to do it better. And then I started thinking, why don't I do this as a profession versus what I'm doing? And that's kind of how I ended up in the coaching consulting realm, because it was something that you know when not be able to see there are disadvantages that I'm going to have against sighted people. However, when it comes to the mental game, I can be as smart as anybody. I can be as well informed, well read. Like there really weren't as many disadvantages playing that game. And so that's kind of why I ended up choosing it, because it was something I could be great at, and being great at what I do is super important to me. So that's kind of how long story to get to where I am today.
I love that. I love the the ability to kind of go through that path and have a maybe a different perspective than some out there, and
Hmm.
absolutely love the kind of the performance aspect of things. So maybe talk us through kind of what does it mean to be a high performer? What does it mean to get to that point of unlocking kind of maximum potential, especially from a mindset perspective? Kind of what are some things that you kind of talk through in terms of what your experience has been with high performing individuals out there?
Yeah, really high performing. I mean, it's a great title, but it's kind of a misnomer. It's really performing optimally, which means, the best that you possibly can within your genetics, your personality, like that, as many days as you possibly can. Like, the reality is we're not all going to have that 99 out of 100 day type thing. Like, I mean, maybe today it's 80%, maybe today it's 75, but that's your optimum for today. So how do you perform at your best every day? And really, a lot of it comes down to learning the strategies as far as like getting your sleep, hydrate, like hydration, keep saying, well, staying well informed. There's that part of it, but a lot of it is really just educating, knowing what it takes for you to perform at your best every day, and then following those strategies. So a lot of it is teaching the strategies, making sure they follow through with it. And high performers have a tendency. It's one of the reasons why they're high performers. Many of them, kind of have that inferiority complex, and so a lot of it's working through that as well, and really working on those, like, failure's not failure. It's an opportunity to learn. Like, really changing their mindset, their viewpoints on a lot of the things that society teaches us that we think are right, and allowing people to, because a lot of what prevents us from performing at our best is ourselves, right? Our own mindset, our limiting beliefs, our the way we were raised, the culture we were raised in. It's getting through those and allowing people to unlock their best version, really as frequently as they possibly can.
Hmm. So it sounds like there's a level of self-awareness that becomes kind of a key component as someone kind of learns how to become optimal.
Yeah, the
How do you
reality
generate
is
that?
any kind of change, there's a level of self-awareness. Like, that's what people don't like to acknowledge. Like, I can't force anyone to change. They have to want to, and that starts with self-awareness.
I love that. And how true it is. You can't force
Yeah,
change,
you
and people
can't. No.
have to be ready and willing to take that next step.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about kind of the clientele that you enjoy working with the most. Kind of what's an
Mhm.
ideal fit for you? The way I like to kind of position this for the audience. So I'm listening into this later on, or I'm watching this later on. How would I know that either I'm a good fit to give you a call and talk through some of your services, or I might know somebody that I should refer over to you?
Yep. Yeah, so when I started my career, I was like, what do I want from my ideal client? And it sounds terribly arrogant, but this is the process I went through. I basically was like, I want to work with people that are like me, like that are always pushing, striving for more, for better. It's that open mindset, right? It's like continuing to learn, to challenge. Like, to me, I love challenges because it's a daily, like, measuring stick of, am I good enough? And the answer is either yes or no. If the answer is no, okay, what do I need to fix to get better and overcome it? If the answer is yes, okay, great. What did I do well that I can replicate? I just love that aspect of it. It's the competitor in me. And so that's why I chose, CEOs, founders, that whole startup realm, and the professional athletes. Because to me, they're the same mindset of people. They're just in different bodies, right? Like, they're all about competition. How do I get better? What do I need to do today to make sure tomorrow I'm 1% better than I was today. Yeah, that really is kind of I kind of went by client profile more than I did industry, and then I just learned the industries around the client profile, because to me it was easier to work with people that were like me than people who weren't, because oftentimes I knew what my clients were going to say before they said it, because I would have had the exact same thought in that situation. And to me, it makes working with people easier. It makes the insights more profound, and that's kind of who I work with and why I chose to work with.
Amazing. I think that's like super clear and helpful for the audience to kind of think through. I might know somebody like that, or maybe that
Hmm.
describes me very perfectly.
Right.
Um, I always like to ask just a few questions around kind of marketing. In the business world, it's one of those
Hmm.
areas that, for some, it's really easy. For others, it may not be so easy.
Yeah.
Learn a lot of lessons with it. But for, that type of client that you love to work with, what have you found to be kind of the best ways to get the word out or get in front of those types
Yeah.
of clients?
Marketing hasn't been my best at AI because it's there's so much noise out there. It's really hard to figure out what the right noise to listen to is. And so for me, I do a lot of direct outreach on LinkedIn. I go through, see profiles that I like, friend them, and outreach. That because who knows my client profile better than I do. And really, I always knew that if I did a great job, people would refer me. And so it's kind of like, finding those first few clients are important, and then doing a great job was important, and then the referrals came. And that I really like because it makes prospecting not such a huge deal. And, I'm not selling myself as much because other people have already sold me before, they even got on the phone with me. So those are
Hmm.
really kind of where I like to focus is LinkedIn and then, referrals
I love
that
that.
way. But I'm also not going for scale, right? So if you have a business that's scale based, my advice is shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't need 100 clients, I need 10 or 15. So,
Yeah, no, I love that. And it gives a really good context. And, I love the one with referrals, especially for, folks in our types of industries that is more
yep,
professional service and things like that.
yep.
Have you been able to kind of develop a system like that at X point in the relationship is when you'll start to kind of have those referral conversations? Does it just kind of happen naturally? What have you found to be kind of best practice with regards to consistency in referrals?
Yeah, to me, business and life, but referrals definitely come down to, trust and respect. Do you trust and respect the person that you're working with enough to be able to want to be able to, because you're essentially when someone's referring you, they're kind of putting their integrity and reputation on the line by saying this person, is worth taking a chance on, right? Especially when you're working with high-end people, right? And
Mm,
so it takes a while to build that trust and respect. And so I don't rush it. It's at least a month if we're working weekly. Maybe 2 or 3 months if we're working every other week. I want that relationship of trust and respect to be solid. I want some of my results to have panned out, so they have something tangible to A, talk about, and B, feel good about referring me. And if I'm not doing that, refer me like on the first conversation, it removes that neediness thing that comes about, right? And no one, I mean, it's subconscious, but no one wants to work with people that are like and feel like all that they are to you is a stepping stone to the next person, right? And so I play the long game. I'm not doing that, short term. I need 100 clients type thing, right?
mhm.
And not everybody's geared that way, but I charge it up to where I don't have to be desperate, and I work with people that understand the relationship game, and so I know the rules of my game, and I play those rules to win. Not everybody's playing the same game that I am. So again, if they aren't, my advice isn't what they should be listening to. But if they are, and that's how you play that game to win.
I love that. So, especially in kind of the coaching industry overall, what would you say to someone who's maybe never had the ability to work with a coach in the past or work with, someone that does what you do in the past? Kind of curious about it, just maybe a little skeptical.
Hmm.
What would you kind of share with them to kind of help them work through some of those barriers on giving something like this a try?
Yeah. My first thing is if you're skeptical, continue to be skeptical. Skeptical. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who, promote themselves who aren't qualified or don't have your best interests at heart. But that's the same in any industry, right? Like I have a law degree, which has a reputation. Where lawyers have a terrible reputation, themselves, right? So that's any profession. But I will also say coaching is one of the best things that anyone can do as a high performer because you don't know your own blind spots because that's why they're called blind spots, right? So it allows you to have things pointed out to you that you would never recognize yourself. Also, hearing things from a different perspective, it is amazing how much it unlocks, new ideas, new connections that allow you to see the world differently, solve problems differently, all that kind of stuff. It's also crazy how just talking through a problem versus thinking through it and having someone ask, the right question also allows you to unlock your own solutions, your own problems. So like those to me are like they're really invaluable things about coaching. And if you find the right coach, that's what you should see, expect, to have happen for you. So it's absolutely worth it. You will never grow more than you will with a coach who's asking those questions, who's holding you accountable, who's showing things from a different perspective. But you definitely need to do your due diligence, your research, and find the coach that's frankly right for you. Because just because the coach is great doesn't mean they're great for you. Not all personalities work. Not all methodologies work for everybody. So that's what I would say. Do the research. Be patient. Go with referrals if you possibly can. Uh, you know, if you're worried about it, have a conversation. Say I want to try you out. A good coach will be like, fine, let's do this for a month, and then we can go a longer term. They won't force you into doing a nope. I only do 6 month to year long contracts, right? That's to me as someone who isn't confident enough in their abilities to be tested.
Hmm. That's really good advice. And I'll jump on it for a second for those that are watching. They're like, maybe I'm, exploring this path. And I'll just share that my own personal experience having coaches that we pay to coach us. I've
Hmm.
never seen our growth move faster than, having that outside perspective, asking the questions that we can't ask of ourselves because we can't see them.
Yep.
So I'm a huge proponent of it. Obviously, I'm also in the industry a bit as well,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
yeah, finding that right fit and everything is everything.
It
And
is.
I can definitely attest to that. So, I'm curious, Ryan, as you went through kind of this process of building your business and kind of going along this entrepreneurial journey, um, is there maybe one or two kind of standout moments? Maybe there were hurdles that you had to overcome in the process of
Hmm.
building the business that kind of stand out to you that have kind of helped you grow into the business leader that you are today, that you can kind of share,
Yeah.
those experiences.
Yeah. Frankly, honestly, it was finding shitty coaches. Like what you just heard about that. Who will work with you for a month, like won't do this. Like I've found very few coaches that are like, nope, I only do. They're like, I'm going to sign you to a 6 month contract, right, or a year long contract. We're gonna do this, and that's all we do. Like that to me is like, yeah, it's like dating. You don't know if someone's going to work with you or be the love of your life until you go on a few dates with them and figure it out, right? Like like some people present really well. Like I suck at sales. I'm not good at it. But I'm damn good at coaching. Like that's going to come across in a coaching session, but I just can't make it come across in a sales session because I refuse to overpromise and underdeliver, which I think is what a lot of sales are for a lot of people. And
Mm.
so it takes time. That's my point. But yet again, I'm not for everybody, and not every coach is for everybody. And that's so like I went through those mistakes with coaches, and as a result, a lot of my business practices reflect what I thought was something wrong in like I didn't agree with in the industry. Because what's my unique selling proposition? Well, guess what? I'm different than most coaches, and this is how I'm different and why I'm different. I'm not afraid to tell that, and so that's kind of a lot of um, what those are that's probably the overarching answer to your question as opposed to like a really specific example.
That's been phenomenal. Um, let's kind of future forecast for a minute.
Mhm.
I'm curious as you continue to grow and build up your business and your client base and things like that. Um, where do you see kind of your business in the next 3 to 5 years? How does that continue to grow? How does your role continue to change as as the next 3 to 5 years kind of come about. But cast the vision for us. Where are you and the
Yeah.
business headed?
I don't have a desire to grow, a coaching empire. That's just not, where as far as like by that, I mean, like, I have 100 coaches working for me and we're doing, it's just not the game I want to play. So for me, in the next 3 to 5 years, it is, working, it's working with people that I want to work, only want to work with. It's working my way up the ladder of working with really successful, fun, dynamic people that are always pushing their boundaries of what they know, their skill sets, what they want to achieve in life. That to me is really where I want to be with it. I'm probably more of you call it a solopreneur than I would be, a business, CEO, whatever. Not that I couldn't do it. It's just not what I want to do with my life. I enjoy the intimacy of a one-on-one conversation more than I do like I had an article that I wrote many years ago now that it comes up in conversations a lot. I think there's two different types of coaches. I think there are problem-solving coaches, and I think there are educational coaches. They're both very important for different stages of someone's development. I'm much more of a problem-solving coach. I'm creative. I connect those dots that people can't see. I help them, see the flaws in their thinking, all that kind of stuff. Educational coaches are the ones they're going to get up and they're going to have programs that are going to teach you, what you need to know about X, Y, or Z. You need both. I'm just not the educational coach. Well, educational coaching you can scale because you can record, you can sell those recordings, you can do whatever, right? Problem solving coaches, it's much more difficult to scale because I'm limited by how many hours a day I want to work and how many clients I want to have and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but yet that's I'm best at. It's what I most enjoy, and so that's the path that I choose to go down. So
That's really cool. I think the distinction that you draw there is an important one, especially if you've got other coaching type businesses that are
mhm.
watching this later on, and there is a big difference between the
Yep,
types of businesses to grow, and that doesn't make one any better or worse than the
nope.
other. It's kind of what do
What's
you
the best
want
fit for
and how to
you?
do it. So
Hmm.
that's
Yep.
I really appreciate you kind of walking through kind of your perspective on that. I know we've certainly covered a lot of kind of ground. I always joke that we get to this point in the conversation. I know I could sit here for another like hour and just continue to pick your brain on things,
Right,
but I do want to
right.
be respectful of the time that we have together. And I've got a few rapid fire questions, really just kind of
Hmm.
pull out some wisdom nuggets for the audience. So the first one, when you look back at kind of your journey overall, from
Hmm.
pre-starting this business to going through growing this business, what would you say for you has been kind of your key to success?
Adaptability. It's actually, if you look at it evolutionary, it's the trait that allows humans to be, oddly enough, to be the apex at whatever. It's our ability to adapt to different environments, different situations. My ability to adapt, pivot, change industries, change what I want to do. That has been my biggest key to success.
I love that. How about advice? If you could leave just one piece of advice for other business owners and entrepreneurs out there today, what piece of advice would you want to leave them with?
The journey of actually life, but specifically entrepreneurship, is not easy. It's not a straight line. It's not clean. And more importantly, you shouldn't expect it to be. By expecting things to be clean and easy, you set yourself up for failure and success. Sorry, failure and disappointment. By expecting things to be difficult, not being direct, you go in with the mindset of this is the way it's supposed to be. It's going to suck. Like the Navy still say, embrace the suck. And it allows you to overcome, endure those setbacks because they weren't surprises. That's usually when people fail, is when like a setback's a surprise. When you expect setbacks, they're not surprises. They're now pain in the ass headaches that you can set back, reevaluate, overcome.
Oh, that is good advice. And we'll do one more here, book recommendation. So any books that you've read or listened to in, either recently or one that stands out to you that you'd want to kind of
Yeah,
give as a recommendation.
I'm huge into stoicism. I discovered about 5 or 6 years ago now, and I love Ryan Holiday's almost all his works on stoicism. It was a philosophy that just worked for me mentally. I just, it gave me a code, a way to view the world that I really like. So, I'm not going to say stoicism is the right answer for everyone because nothing ever is, but it was the right answer for me. I loved it. And so, I have two pieces of advice there. A, if you're interested in stoicism, look at Ryan Holiday. It's a good place to start. B, the more important thing is, I think everybody should find a philosophy that resonates with them, whether it's Stoicism, Buddhism, whatever it may be. It just gives you a code and a filter by which you now see the world and try to live your life according.
I love that. And I know some of his works has been on my list for a bit, and I just haven't gotten around to reading it amongst the
Yeah,
other like 50 books on my reading
I know
list. So
that's the problem. Yeah, yeah.
but I'm excited to maybe bump it back up the more I'm reminded that it needs to be there. So for those that
Obstacle is a way. That was the first one I started. That's probably that's probably a great introductory book for Stoicism is Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. If you want an actual book recommendation.
Perfect. I love that. Great starting point for the audience.
Mhm.
So for the audience that as they're excited to learn more, to maybe connect with you, have a conversation with you, just kind of connect and follow the things that you're up to, where can we advise them to go for more information?
Yeah, so my Instagram is at Ryan Esquire, and it's Ryon Esquire. And then my website is ryanesquire.com. Those are probably the two best places. And then on LinkedIn, I'm just Ryan Anderson. So
Beautiful. I will make sure that all three of those are in the video and podcast description below. So please, if you're watching this, take at least one moment, go to either LinkedIn or Instagram and just send a direct message. Say, hey, Ryan, saw you on the Business Spotlight. Great conversation. It's always good to make those connections, especially here in the local market. So with that, Ryan, I always like to finish off with the final question, which is simply, what is most inspiring to you today?
um, are you talking about what inspires me or just like something I've seen that inspired me?
It's up to you. However you want to
Yeah.
interpret that question of what's most inspiring to you today.
Challenges, trying new stuff. To me, I'm inspired when I'm growing. I'm pushing, I'm growing, I'm trying something new. I'm trying something because I had a boss one time tell me I thrive on chaos, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And more I thought about, reflected on, he's right. I do well. I'm at my best when the shit hits the fan, but it's because there's growth there. There's opportunity there to prove myself, to challenge myself that inspires me is that opportunity to grow, prove myself. Yeah, for some reason, I just find that it's fun. Like I really enjoy that. It's whether about sports, whether about football. It's that you are measuring yourself every day, and you are passing or failing every day, and you are adapting accordingly. And so that to me, I just find fun. Not everybody's geared that way. I understand that, but yeah,
Oh man, that is so amazing. And yeah, that might resonate with me just a little bit.
a little bit,
So
yeah, yeah. That's
I
why I
like it.
work with professional athletes and CEOs. We're all kind of geared the same way. Yeah,
Oh, that's so awesome. So, Ryan, I want to say thank you again for taking the time. This has been a genuine pleasure, to get to know you a little bit better, hear a little bit more about your story, the work that you do, and excited to see the work that you continue to do with the clients that you've got out there. So, thank you so much for taking the time.
yeah. I appreciate it, man. It was fun.